Well, Internet, it's been 3 long years, but it's finally time to say goodbye to this, which is my old sliding glass door handle. It's all basic builder grade and busted, so I made a new one, and I'm going to show you how. On second thought, that's supposed to go into the firewood pile. First things first, I'm going to have to remove this old hunk of junk so I can use it as a template for the new door handle. After that, I'll head over to the scrap bin and find the perfect piece placed right on top. Well, maybe it's not quite perfect, but it's close. So I'm going to take the old handle and use it as a reference to just kind of shave a little bit off of this on the table saw. I do get a lot of comments on this push stick. It's something that my friend at DP Woodworks made for me. I'll leave a link to his page down in the description if it's something you're interested in. And be sure to watch out for that kickback. Not today, Murphy. I honestly had no idea what I wanted this design to look like at first. I just knew I didn't want it to look so basic or like it was from the 90s. So I just decided to take it over to the miter saw and put two 30-degree cuts on each end. There we go. That's looking better already. Next, I needed to make sure that the holes from the old handle were an exact match on the new handle because there's not a whole lot of wiggle room when I go to put this back into the sliding glass door. Once those were laid out, I went over to my drill press and just pre-drilled some pilot holes for my screws. Because the old brackets have these reinforcement grooves on them, I'll need to match those to my new handle. To do that, I'll start by securing the old brackets to the new handle about 95% of the way, and then I'll make sure that they're as perpendicular as possible to the edge of the new handle so I can mark out where those grooves are going to be. I like using my combination square for stuff like this, and then I'll get real fancy and bust out a mechanical pencil just to kind of mark the lines for where those grooves are going. Now I'm going to remove those old brackets and begin carving out those grooves. As you're about to witness, fine woodworking is clearly not my specialty, so here I just took a marking pen to sever the grain, and then I'm going to bring out my very old and very dull Harbor Freight chisels to just roughly carve this out. There's certainly several other ways that you can get this done, but for me it was the quickest and this didn't need to be extremely precise. So like a caveman smashing two rocks together to try starting fire. After somehow butchering this to perfection, I can move on to the easier stuff, which is putting a nice edge profile on the outside of the handle. And to do that, I'm going to use this savage little round over bit that Tools Today sent me. I'll leave a link to it down in the description as well. But I'm just going to set my router to about medium speed and take this nice and slow, and be sure to have a very firm grip on this because you do not want it flying back. And of course, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, then I wouldn't recommend doing it. I didn't put a huge round over on this, so by all means you could simply use some sandpaper or maybe even a random orbital sander to do this. But again, for me, it was the quickest way and I felt safe doing it, so that's the route I chose to go. After that, I just gave it a quick sanding with this nifty little 3x4 surf prep sander. I ran through 150 and then 180 grit. Now I did pay for mine, but I also have an affiliate link down in the bottom for 10% off. I absolutely love this sander. You can get all kinds of grooves and contours with it. Once I finish sanding, I'm going to give it a good wipe down with mineral spirits, get any extra dust off of there that I might have missed when I blew it off. And then if you noticed, I saved my offcuts from when I made those 30-degree cuts earlier, and I will set this on there to dry. After it's been visibly dry for at least 10 to 15 minutes, you can go ahead and apply your finish. Normally I'd use something like Rubio Monocoat on this, but I honestly ran out, so I'm just going to use this Danish oil. It should be plenty durable. I like to be pretty liberal with this stuff and just soak it in really good, and then after it's good and dry, I believe it's about 15 minutes later, I came back and applied a second coat. And now that the finish is dried, I'm going to go ahead and reattach my hardware, my brackets and my screws. But just to add a little touch of overkill in there, I'm going to put some of this medium thick Star Bond adhesives in there first. And while those grooves that I carved out did turn out pretty close to perfect, I am still going to bring out my combination square again when I'm securing the screws, just to play it safe. And now it's time to install it. As you can see, my lighting was definitely terrible at this point of the day, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. Quick quality check and we're good to go. My next task is to clean my sliding glass door. Hope you enjoyed the video.